Hello. Hello. Welcome to episode 13 of season 2 of the Yarnivore podcast. I think it's 13. Hold on. Yes, it is. And I should take a sip because apparently I didn't think to do that before recording. Or before hitting record. Still the remnants of the plague. If you ever wonder what happens to people who have very low immune systems, it's this. We catch cold. The cold lasts as long as a really bad flu would for anybody normal, and yeah, it sucks. But whatever. I'm feeling better. Feeling way better. It's just occasionally I might start sounding like Tom Waits. But I love Tom Waits, so it's all good. Who is it? LK Memphis? Memphis. I know Memphis is in her name, and it starts with LK, and I've met her at SSK. But either way, her husband loves Tom Waits, so she got the references, and for some reason that's what I remember right this instant. However, see, I'm tempted to put my hair behind my ears, but then I feel like my face looks funny. Really, I should have just got bobby pins and put my hair up a little, and yeah, no. Not happening. Whatever. You don't care. And that's fine. This is a knitting and now kind of cross-stitching show, so I guess we better get on with the day. Keep looking over here, because my FOs are over here. My show notes are over here. Everything is over here. Okay, so last week I forgot to show you a finished object. Yeah. That's because I put it on my kitchen table to block it, and it hasn't gotten blocked yet, which is because the sink hasn't gotten clean yet. I told you, it's a very infrequent occurrence. However, it's going to happen this weekend because I have to reblock a bunch of things. Blah. Anyway, I recall telling you about this basket over here. Right there. That basket. See where my finger is? Right, that basket that has 12 different bags that are all not labeled, and they all each have a project in them, and each project has a pattern associated with it. So I just started that on January 1st, and I finished quite swiftly because I picked one of my easy ones. There are some harder ones in there. I know there's a couple pairs of socks in there that are really heavily patterned because I was feeling jaunty when I made them. And there are some super easy things, like I think there's a hat in there, and quite frankly, a hat is going to take like 2 seconds. They're not hats that are on fingering weight. They're like sport or worsted, so they're quick hats. Anywho, the one I picked was this gorgeous sport weight alpaca. Phew. You can focus. You're not going to focus. Although, for the most part, you can read everything. It just says on the side, 100% baby alpaca. I had 2 of these, which I got when Knitter's Palette closed, and it was such a sad time. It was a very sad time in my life when that yarn store closed. But then Knit Group. And life was good again. And now I have no Knit Group, and I feel like a leaf on the wind. Serenity reference for everybody. Or actually, that was the movie. Still Serenity. Whatever. Okay, so I had 2 of these. 50 grams, 110 yards. 100% baby alpaca. Color 545. And in my queue, I had Zuzu's petals, and I wanted to knit it. I wanted to knit it real bad, so this is it unblocked. And yes, I do know that it's lace, and that it will open up and look magnificent when it is blocked. But right now it kind of looks like poo, because that is the nature. And I'm not putting it over my head yet. Maybe. Do you want me to? Okay. So, aside from pointing out my lovely artillery of chins that I got going on here, swelling, puffing chins, it is really pretty. But when I was knitting this, all I could think of was Dawn, because I'm not sure if it was Dawn who gifted me the pattern, but I know I gifted it to her, and then James knit it out of Tarte, Madeline Tosh Tarte, and it looked so good. And I really screwed this up, FYI. If you're wondering, I screwed this up so bad I had to go back and... Okay, if you just wonder if I ever have one knitting attacks, I really do. See, but it's going to be pretty once it's blocked and opened up. The lace is really lovely. I'm opening it where you can't see it. See the lace? See the lace? It's gorgeously gorgeous lace. And I'm taking it off now because... And as you can see, I told you my hair would wash out as soon as I start putting like shampoo in it. Yeah, now it is. Whatever. I don't mind. I don't actually care. And it kind of looks... It's still two-tone and cool. And I'm trying to grow it out, so I guess it is what it is. It's... Unless it's black, it's really going to look... It's going to show up everything because that's just the nature of my hair. So... I had no problem knitting this solid business up top, this solid portion. But then I got to the lace, and I misread the lace pattern, and I got a repeat in. I was starting the second repeat or whatever, and I realized I had it completely wrong. I had it so wrong, and it was one of those I can fudge this and keep going wrongs. It was... And it's paid for pattern, so I can't tell you very much. But like right here down the center spine, the front center, you have to keep increasing. Right? That would be natural. Well, the way I did it, I wasn't increasing, so this was just going to be a tube instead of a flary piece of lace yumminess. So the tube was not smart. And I had already joined the second ball, so I had to rip back quite substantially. And it sucked. So there was no way to actually rip back to a point in the lace where I could save it because there was no lifeline in here because I figured this is going to take me 2 seconds. Why do I need a lifeline? That's right. Hubris on my part. So I ripped back to the plain stockinette portion where it joins. And then I re-knitted. And it still didn't take me very long. But it's finished. It's a finished object. I just have to block it and take pictures. And then I can be done. Hopefully I'll get to do some blocking this weekend. I know I'll get to do some blocking this weekend. Because I've decided I'm one of those nefarious wives. The husband really wants to play Star Wars Armada, which is a tabletop RPG with little mini figurines. I don't mind playing Star Wars Armada. It's fun sometimes. It's also very lengthy, and it bites into my crafting time, which you know will irritate me to no end. And we have to play it on the kitchen table, which means I have to sit in the kitchen chairs, which are not half as comfy as the couch or the computer chairs or what have you. Anywho. I'm pretty sure I can negotiate a clean sink out of that. He does it to me all the time. I can do it to him too. That's what married people do. We negotiate. I negotiate that you will do the dishes, and I will play your game without bitching. My other finished object... I do play it, I do enjoy it, and I don't bitch. But we have a setup in our house in which the agreement, because neither of us like doing dishes, is that I unload the dishwasher. I always unload the dishwasher. He loads the dishwasher. So as long as the dishwasher is unloaded, he should be able to load it and clear out the sink. Then I can block stuff and have it soaking while we're playing the game. And we can pause while I have to get everything and lay it out. And then we can resume when I've changed things around. Sounds like a win-win situation, right? And everybody who's married goes, mm-hmm. And everybody who's not married goes, oh God, you poor dear. And I tell you what, it's way better than being not married. I like being married. It's fun. Has its moments, but it's fun for the most part. It's a lot better than being single. And I didn't mind singleness, but okay, this is going on a tangent, and I really just wanted to show you my next finished object. So I'm going to do that without sock blockers, because again, they're over there, and I was really too obsessed with remembering the first finished object to pick up the sock blocker. I should just put one over here by the computer desk. Save myself the trouble. I finished these. I have a pair. Here, I can show you the pair. Finished. They're really floppy. There's no way to hold them up without being like, floop. But they're done. These are the Rose City Rollers, which is a free pattern, and I forget who by, but if you go to Ravelry and you search Rose City Rollers, you will get this pattern up in your search engine. I knit them on US 1 2.25 millimeter needles. I chose, I believe it's the medium, which is the 64 stitches, and I went with that because I know that'll fit my foot. I know how it'll fit my foot, and it's my default, okay? It's my default. With my standard toe, I completely did my standard toe and heel. I don't even know what they said to do in the pattern. And this is out of Gail's Arts, Bits and Bobs, which I have long since lost that tag. But I know it's like Superwash something, Merino or BFL, and then 15% Neps, which are the gorgeous little bibbly-bobblies that are in it. It's got lots of bibbly-bobblies. I'm surprised I didn't spend time picking them out, because I am the person who would pick the fuzz out. But I know that, like, that's the, like, see here. Can you, there you go, you can see some bobblies sticking out. I know they're supposed to do that. I know in my head, but it is a problem for me mentally to get there where I'm not like picking. But I do like the aesthetic. So I think once I wash it, they'll all lay into it anyway, and it does create a very gloriously beautiful tweediness. See? Love it. And I knit a pair, okay. So I knit a pair of these for my mom, who is a women's 7.5, depending on the width, which is the exact same size as Tracy. Yeah, I looked that up. In European women's sizes. Someone posted in one of my threads a conversion so I could know. And now I've forgotten what size I am. But I am big. I am 2 inches bigger than my mother. Woohoo! I'm also like a foot taller. I don't know how tall my mother is. I actually do, but I'm not going to announce it on the podcast because I value my life. But she has smaller feet. So I knit a pair for her, and I knit a pair for me. And I have a women's 9.5, 10, depending on the width. If it's a 9.5 wide, it'll fit. If it's a thin one, I have to go up to a 10. If it's a men's shoe, I usually wear a 9. And I don't really care what shoe I'm wearing so long as it's comfortable. So knit both those out of the skein, and I still have enough that I could do like a barn raising quilt square or something. Not that I'm doing the barn raising quilt squares again, because that was hell. Although I started one of those mitered blankets, like I started it, but I had to plan it in my head way too much, and so it hasn't really gotten any love. Maybe if I just said screw it and started putting things on randomly, I could get further along. But then it's like I've got this project that I haven't finished, and it bugs the crap out of me. Maybe I should do the log square thing that Tracy's doing. I don't know, because I still have a lot of scraps. Like, I do have a lot of scraps. There's no way around it. I knit a lot of socks, a lot of shawls, a lot of everything, and I get a lot of scraps. Which I love, and I love using them. It makes me so happy, but maybe I should just go back to that blanket and work on it a little bit, and then, like, forget about it again. See, the thing is, I'm going to have to look it up now, because I don't even remember the cast on, or where I did the decrease, or what have you. Like, I did a fair bit, and then I just, and then I was going to work on that, but I did the hubby's going away barn raising square quilt, and that burnt me out on doing those things. So, I don't know. Check in next week, where you'll know if I picked it up because I felt like it or not, and I just dropped the lid for this thing, so. Yeah, you'll get to see that, whether or not I've done that. It could take months, who knows? Who knows? Right now, I am friggin' crazy. I really am. And apparently I want to cast on all the socks. So, those are my 2 finished objects. So this is my first official pair for 16 in 2016, so I have one done. But I need to get a move on because I need to do at least 4 extra pairs from one a month. So, see, I just did it. I don't like the way my face looks on that side, but whatever. It's more comfortable. Okay, into works in progress. Works in progress. I actually have quite the bit. So let's just get started. I have so much that I had to actually resort to using the chair. Or no, not the chair. There is no chair. We stole the chair. It's in the kitchen. I had to resort to using the floor. So in my Zigzag Stitches bag, the big boxy bag, which I still love. It's awesome. It's got a handle, which makes everything better. She's got an Etsy shop. You should go buy stuff from her because she's awesome. Because I said so. I have my ellipses. It is big. It is no longer big enough, or it is no longer small enough that, there we go. That's how wide it's getting. I'm getting close. I have to double check on the closing date. I can't remember if it's the end of January, like January 20th, but either way, I'm going to basically knit until like it's really close to the end, and then I'm going to do the last 6 rows because, like, I mean, yeah, I'm making a dent, but the rows are getting long at this point, which is fine. It's just, I'm really into instant gratification right now, which is why the socks are really good, but instant gratification. Okay, there, that's bugging me. I need unity. And yes, I cut my own bangs, and I did not cut the side parts long enough. I mean, short enough. But, so I've got that in here, and in the little pocket I've got all my, because this one has a pocket, I've got all my little tassels that are pre-made. Pre-made tassels. Tassels of love. So, that's done. Of course, hubby was away one night this week, as he usually is, in my Ellison bag, which is my Princess Bride bag of great greatness. Bra strap. Bra strap. I have the Robin hoodie. I'm not going to show you these pictures. You've already seen them. I'm lazy, and I want to get through this. Plus, you've already seen everything. So, my goal was to get through the hood, and I did, and I started on the body, which you can see because now it's branching out. Right up here where all the markers are. So it's a raglan increase. Let's see. There you go. Between the markers, it's a raglan increase. It's starting to make sense. You can kind of see where it's supposed to be starting, like right here and here. And there's the other side. I'm tempted to just Kitchener this, or whatever. You know, you're supposed to Kitchener straight and Kitchener purl and Kitchener whatever. You're supposed to match the stitches that you are Kitchenering. I am very tempted to Kitchener this now. I'm not sure why I'm waiting to Kitchener it. I know that I'm supposed to. I'm also not averse to a 3 needle bind off because I don't think he's going to care. But having said that, I don't know why I have to wait till the end to do that. It seems like something I should just do so it's done, because it's superfluous to the, like, I mean, it's not like I have to knit from there. The reason for the provisional cast on is to knit so you don't have the pickup or the lump across the top, right? You're supposed to have it flat, which is why you're supposed to Kitchener it. But the big question is, can I just do it now? And while it is unblocked and everything, it looks really tiny, but it stretches quite profusely with, like, no problems. So I know that, like, I mean, it looks tiny, but when I block it out, it's going to give you quite the stretch. So I'm not particularly worried about the hood being too shallow. Now, okay, I started skein 2. Let's see here. I alternated the skein before I started skein 2. You can't really tell that I did that. You can't. It looks very similar. Because if you knew where I started alternating, you know, looking at this, you might say, oh, you started somewhere in here? Yeah, no, I started up here. You cannot tell the difference between the two skeins. So I think I'm just going to do like 4 alternations before I change to the next one, unless it looks like really changed, but... And it's getting kind of washed out. Like the stuff that's white is actually a very light blue. This is, of course, Knitter's Nightmare Wickedly Worsted in the Neptune colorway, which was invented for my husband. I crap you not. I created the colorway just for him because that's the color he wanted his hoodie to be. And he never picks anything easy. I would like to say that. Okay? He picks things for me to do for him like he wants. Oh, can you make me that? Oh, can you do that? Oh, blah, blah, blah. Which is lovely. We all love having spouses that ask for things, but he never asks for anything simple. This hoodie has cabling on both sides. There's no rest rows. Furthermore, I'm augmenting the pattern to make it have a zipper because he wanted it to zip. Or button. He's not particular. I could put buttons in there, but either way, I have to take a flat piece and make it, or a round in the round and make it into a flat piece, which isn't exactly hard given the way the pattern is structured. I can do it, but he likes to throw curveballs at me because he knows I can do them, which is both flattering and kind of, thank God he doesn't do that with socks. He likes unpatterned socks. Like, he doesn't like having knit pattern on them because they bug him in his sock. So he just likes the plain stock knit socks. That's the only thing I can get away with. Except now he's discovered that he likes the 72 stitches on a 0, which is kind of painful. It's like, it's a good thing I love you, dear. There's no one else I would do this. Maybe my mother. That's it. Like, seriously. He's also picked a cross-stitch pattern he would like me to do for him. I'll bring it up. He actually, I don't know what he was doing that he found this cross-stitch pattern, but he's like, hey, look at this. And I was like, okay, I'll look at this. So I looked at this. And he's like, will you make that for me? I was like, huh? You know, I'm always up for a challenge, and, you know, I'm doing the Heaven and Earth one, so I figured, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Is there a pattern? Because I'm not making a pattern. I'm not. I'm just not there in my life. And he's like, yeah, there's a pattern, and it's free. You see that? See if I can get it without glare. I don't know if I can. Do you know what that is? That's all 151 Pokemon from the first generation. It's all the first gen Pokemon. And of course the evolutions are in there. It's frigging annoying. It's beautiful, but this thing is going to take me forever. Do you know how big the piece of fabric I have to get is? On 18 count is like 36. It's huge. Sorry. I do need to get a new case. It's huge though, like look at it. The thing is massive. Do not be deceived. There's 150 colors in there. Will you make it for me? Sure. Sure. That's gonna take me maybe our 10th wedding anniversary. He'll get it then. That's if I start it now, just because it's so big and there's so many colors. I'm just saying, and I'm sorry that was really loud. I apologize. I would go back and edit it out, but I'm not gonna. Because that's editing. And I'm not an editor. I did it once to put that picture in, and that took me like 20 minutes. It's not happening. So, continuing on to works in progress, because I felt the need to tell you that my husband likes to request really hard things, which isn't so bad. My mom does it too. Let's see. Let's start at the start, where one you've seen before in my pan bag. I am working on my biscotte and C, or chi, or whatever. I do believe Moira is recording and going to say it for me, so I will know how to say it. It means biscotte and company. See, a lot of people say biscotti, but it's not spelled biscotti. And if it's French, then they drop the E, right? So it should be biscotte. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. And then Germans pronounce the E as an Either way. Someone's going to say it for me, and then I'm going to know how to say it. Thank you. I finished the first sock. I haven't put the heel in because I'm doing afterthought heels. Ta-da! 64 stitches on a US 1 2.25 millimeter needle, which is my standard for stockinette for me. Now the problem with this particular type of stripe, and I've received many suggestions, which I appreciate, but the long and short of it is, I could figure it out. It just annoys me. It's a little annoyance for the person inside of me that likes to have my socks match. It is really hard when you're dealing with that gradient, because the gradient is never solidly one or the other, right? Like there's transition points, but sometimes there's 3 rows, sometimes there's 2 rows, sometimes there's 1. It's really hard to hit the start on the same spot. So the start of my next sock is just a little ahead of this one, because you've got the lightness. I've got too much lightness in this one. But then I knit it to the same, I did the ribbing to the same amount, and then I started doing the stockinette. Now, when I was trying to figure out where to put my afterthought heel, that's as good as I could get it, given the area I have to go in. So, I don't know. It's an annoyance for me, personally, because there's too much gradient in it. I love the way it looks. I love the aesthetic. It's not going to stop me from knitting them, but it is going to be one of those things where I just kind of have to let go and let the knitting take me where it needs to take me, because it's damn near impossible to be perfect on gradient stripes. That's why I only have I have this skein and another skein. I only have 2 skeins of gradient stripes in my stash, and I thought that might happen, which is why I only have 2 skeins. I will knit them, I will wear them, I will love them. But I don't know that I'll buy any more unless I really like the color combination, which I do for the biscotte. But again, they have to go through the wash test. And FYI, there is some discussion in that thread in which Annette, or Annettle, discussed some literature she had uncovered. Well, not literature, but she had read much on the citric acid debate. And it's very interesting to me. And she agrees with me, but, I'm not trying to promote my own agenda here, but apparently there is a significant difference and change in how long you use citric acid to exhaust things, which I found interesting. I know it's harder to do for fiber because I've dyed fiber and I've dyed yarn, and fiber is a beast to dye. In terms of you can't move it. And you have to bring it up slow, and you have to take it down slow, because otherwise it'll get shocked and felted. When you're opening up your fibers and some of them are really compacted, and you're wondering why, it's usually because and it's no fault. The dyers try their best for the most part, but it's really hard to bring it up and take it down in the right. You have to be very, very well timed on that, because otherwise it's going to get shocked and felt. The really floofy stuff that's usually, and you can, different fibers like the superfine merinos, those are going to do it really fast, whereas your BFLs, your long wools, like BFL isn't a long wool, but it's a really resilient wool, or your long wools like your Cheviots, any of your scratchier wools, those are going to take a kicking and keep on from felting because they're long wools and they're harder to felt. You need to add the agitation, and then you have to rinse, and you can't agitate. It's a whole ball game. But it was very interesting to learn. So if you're interested in some literature on citric acid, or not literature, but if you're interested in seeing what Annette had to say, you should go check that thread because it's pretty awesome. Side tangent over in my Seashore Sharon coffee bag, which I love. I can't love it any more than I do. That would be impossible. Apparently, I'm singing to you, and I'm sorry because I'm not a singer. On my Soft Like Kittens, Speak of the Devil, this is Prototype 152, also known as the Bug Yarn. Because apparently there was a bug egg on it, and I wanted it. I wasn't going to give her any options, so she washed it and gave it to me. It's gorgeous. I love this color. I love this color. I could bathe in this color. This color is this colorway. There's a reason I wanted it. It's because I friggin' love it. I'm going to miss it when it's knit up. I am knitting the Comet, K-O-M-E-T, by Stephanie van der Linden, which is a free pattern on Ravelry on US 1 2.25 millimeter needles. I am doing, I believe this is the 66 stitch one. There's a couple different sizes, so I'm going with the 66 stitches because I figured 2 more from 64 is not going to make or break me. I believe this is, hold on. This is the double helix sock, which is a 80/20 superwash merino nylon. Okay, so this is a base that I'm familiar with. Let's see, can you see the patterns? I think you can see the patterns. They're way more visible in person. There you go. It's got a gorgeous little open lace V and then a simple cable. And it just repeats on itself. I think I'm going to do one more repeat. There. That looks good. That shows it up. Here. I saw this on the Knitting Expat because she was like, you're showing it wrong when you do that. She's kind of right. So there it is. You can see it. It's gorgeous. Not sure if it's the pattern or the yarn, but either way, I love these socks. They match my hair. I'm matchy match match. And so I'm going to do one more pattern. You have to end on either a 13 or a 12. So I think I might just do a half a pattern here and end on the 13 because this is like 2 full patterns. It's quite the long pattern, so you can get away with that. And I did a fairly long cuff. I'm loving it. Again, I have to have my brains about me when I'm doing this one, and I don't really have brains right now. My brains are on vacation. They're not on vacation, they just left. They're going to come back, though. And in my Frida Kahlo bag from Amy Beth, which, by the way, I know you're supposed to hand wash these, but again, I had the flea problem, and I had noticed that several cats had slept on this, so I was not taking any chances that there could be flea residue on my Frida Kahlo bag. So it went through the washing machine, and it is no worse for the wear. It probably could use an ironing, but I'm lazy, so let me tell you, it stood up, and that is why Amy Beth bags are awesome. So I got a message from one of my friends back in Minnesota asking for my address. So I sent her my address, and she sent me handspun. And it is the most gorgeous handspun. Jess, Kirby Bird, I'm calling you out. Sorry, if you don't want me to say your name, whatever. She's my friend, not yours. She could be your friend. We could share her. So this is it. It's getting a little blown out. Maybe if I hold it back here. It's gorgeous. It's Cloud Lover. I kept the tag. It is Cloud Lover, 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, in the Toil and Trouble colorway, 420 yards-ish, 420-ish yards, 112 grams. Choop. Pew. I love that the sheep is pooping color. So, and I got this on the day David Bowie died. And if you know me, you know that that is a very important pop culture figure for me. I started listening to him when I was like 10. I loved Labyrinth. I loved The Man Who Fell to Earth. All of his crappy movies, like The Hunger, that was horrible. All of his music, all the time. So it was very hard on me. That day was very hard. It's actually been kind of a hard week because of it. And then Alan Rickman died yesterday, and I'm just like, why are all the Brits dying at 69 of cancer? And I was like, okay, we just lost Lemmy from Motorhead, so this is the trifecta. It's got to stop, right? It has to stop. But David Bowie was the one that hit me the hardest. I know a lot of people are being hit hard by Alan Rickman because, of course, they were big Harry Potter fans, and I respect that, because I think we're all going to mourn in our own way. But this came that day, and it was like the silver lining in my day. And so I wound it, and then I was like, oh, I can't just use the cake, because I caked it, right? Like, so I caked it, and then I was like, no, I have to use as much of this as I can. So then I divided it based on weight, and I decided then I have to do a toe-up sock, right? Because in order to use it all up, you have to do a toe-up, in my mind, because you can't, like, I am not skilled enough to know how many grams I need for a foot. So if I go toe-up, it's fine. I can usually wibble around on the ribbing. And I was looking through the Wendy Johnson book, Toe Up. It's either Socks from the Toe Up or Toe Up Socks for Everybody. It was the first book she wrote, which has some sport weight ones in the back. And I noticed, and Jess had said this is a cross between like a fingering and a sport. And I looked at it and I thought, yeah, it's kind of a sport. I could get away knitting it as a sport more than I could get. It's going to be super dense if I knit it as fingering in my usual fashion. So I decided to basically treat it as a sport, even though it's a heavy fingering. And I could have gotten away with either, but I wanted to show it off more, and I felt that a sport would do that. And in that book, the Wendy Johnson book, it's not Toe Up Socks for Everybody, it's Socks from the Toe Up, I believe. Everybody is the second one. It's the first book. There's a pattern called Labyrinth, and I thought it was very fitting that I would cast on a pair of socks called Labyrinth on that day. And so it hit all my markers, and these are my David Bowie in memoriam socks. I'm doing them on 2.75 millimeter needles, which apparently I only have one prim and one knit picks of. Seriously, I don't have a lot of 2.75s. Here is the pattern, and I accidentally knit the heel way too soon, like almost an inch too soon. So I ripped out the heel, and then I was like, I'm not ripping out the gusset. The gusset's fine. It sits okay on my foot. I'm not ripping back from the gusset and figuring out all this lace. So I just added some. So it's got like a really kind of funny gusset. I'm not sure if you can see, but the gusset increases stuff like here, and then I knit that. It fits on my foot. That's all that matters. I added like an inch, and then I did the heel. And now it fits perfectly. That is the important part. But these are my David Bowie tribute socks, and they will be worn with great by Jess. So, like, I mean, it hits many, many awesome things, but that was a really hard day for me. It is continuing to be somewhat hard because, again, I was a big fan. Like, when you're young and you're, like, listening to music and stuff, you know, you have your little rock star crushes or whatever. And I am not ashamed to admit that my first was New Kid on the Block. It's the one that's now gay. So you can just figure that out. My gaydar was broken at an early age. And then from there, I literally went from that to Alice Cooper and David Bowie, because apparently men in makeup who, like, my mother had to talk me out of getting the Ziggy Stardust mullet. I wanted an orange mullet. I wanted to be like David Bowie. Thank God she talked me out of the orange mullet. But, so it's been pretty rough. For me personally, that passing really affected me. I've been listening to a lot of David Bowie. I've been watching a lot of David Bowie videos, Labyrinth, etc. And I feel really bad for his family and for his kid. And the new album is so hauntingly beautiful. It's just, it is what it is, and I hope that he is, he was the Starman from his song. Except he did come and meet us. So now he's back in the stars, and I hope he enjoys himself and he gets to see all of his friends. Because what else can you do? What else can you do? Okay, that was a little maudlin. Shall we get back to, happy things? I'll get there. Just give me some time. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. It's just, it is what it is. And it happens, and we all mourn in our own ways, and that is what I'm doing, and I have every right to, so. For the first time, probably since I started podcasting again, this is probably the first time in season 2, I think. There is spinning. I had showed you the stuff I had prepared based on the Schnuffeltier bonus episode on how to divide individual things to make into a sweater quantity. I spun the first bobbin of that. I showed you, it was the clear bag. This was one clear bag. So then I restuffed the clear bag and I started bobbin 2. So bobbin 2 I'm not showing you because it's still on my Hansen, which is in the living room. But bobbin 1 is done. It is gorgeous. There really is no way to say how gorgeous this is. And I used 6 different Doctor Who's, 6 different Into the Worlds. 2 of them are Doctor Who. One's Vampire in Venice, one's Don't Blink, which was an SSK colorway. The Sherlock one, Moriarty, which, by the way, I know it's supposed to be a Sherlock reference because that's the evil dude. Because I do watch Sherlock with Benedict Cumberpatch, or Cumbersmog, as I call him. But for me, that's always going to be a Jack Kerouac reference for Dean Moriarty. So, as far as I care, it's supposed to be Sherlock, but it is an on-the-road reference to Jack Kerouac, who is he's another one of my, rock star crushes. So, and he's dead, so he's been dead for a long time. I don't have to mourn that. That's the first one. I won't show you the second one. I haven't been able to spin on the second one because I have klutzitis. I am one of the klutziest people you will ever know. It's not going to show up on camera very well. You can kind of see how it's kind of yellow right in here. Yeah, I couldn't knit or spin or do anything. I could needlepoint because I was just doing it one-handed with my right hand, but I was cleaning up the living room, and we have TB tables that we put stuff on intermittently when we need them. And so it has a slidey bar. They're wood, it flaps up, the slidey bar opens, and then you got the V and it's standing. And for some reason, I put my hand awkwardly underneath it, and the thing slid super fast, and the top slammed down, and you can actually, if you look where my finger is, you can see where there was a dent in my hand from it that took a long time to go away. So I was out of commission for at least a day and a half, possibly 2 days, because I couldn't do anything with my left hand. I literally couldn't. It was just ice. And because I've got skill, I don't know if that's going to show up. Maybe if I do it that way. Yeah, kind of. Right here. I burnt myself really badly because we have a wood stove. It's a very big thing out here in the Pacific Northwest. And quite frankly, it's cheaper, and our house that we rent came with a pallet of composite bricks, which are great. They burn cleaner, they're more energy efficient, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, just putting a brick in, and when I took my hand out, it hit the latch that sticks out that you latch the door to, and basically instantaneously it was like, yeah. But it is all fine now. It's just really scarred and scabby. I, of course, immediately rinsed it in warm water to make sure that I didn't have any residue on it. I washed it. I put Polysporin, which is a Canadian product. You can't get it in the US, which sucks, which is an antibiotic, anti-inflammatory cream. The closest thing you can get here is probably like a Neosporin, but that's not the same. Because Neosporin is like Lanacaine in Canada. I love Polysporin, so if you're ever in Canada, pick up some because it's great for everything. But you can't get it in America. But the Canadians know what I'm talking about. It's very commonly used to treat cuts, bruises, abrasions, healing tattoos. So there was spitting. And on pointy things. I worked on Frederick. I worked on something else, but I'm not going to show you because it's present for someone. Okay, Frederick. I worked on him. Last time you saw him, he had a little bit of this book done. So I worked that all up. I did that book and this book. They aren't outlined very much. And there's a book laying sideways down here. So the pages, and this is the cover, and then it goes around. And then I'm on the bottom half. Frederick is actually quite easy. He's got an ear, a face, a paw. Once you put the back stitching in, his face actually makes sense. Right now it looks kind of creepy, like a Donnie Darko picture. But I love him. This is a very easy pattern to do, which is nice. You get nice long color repeats. The downfall, I guess, is the black fabric. But I made my husband trade spots with me on the couch like we have spots, you know. Very Sheldon-esque. That's my spot. But we really aren't that neurotic about it. We just have spots that we usually sit in. And usually I'm closer to the fire because I'm usually colder. But his has better lighting. So I've switched spots with him, and now I use a blanket. And I have way better lighting to work on this at whatever time of day, because after 4 p.m. there's no light anyway. And I'm getting somewhere. And it's wonderful. And I love it. And I love Frederick. I will probably start something small just to have it going on. I didn't work on the Harumph this week. Again, I injured myself too much to do much of anything because I'm skilled like that. And so I'll probably start something small, just have something small going on. I don't know. Like, I need more works in progress. Sometimes I'm like, I must start all the things. And then sometimes I get really overwhelmed by how many things I have started, which is kind of starting to happen. So maybe I should finish more things before I start more things. I don't know. I honestly don't. It's a very long podcast. But I had many things to tell you about, many things to talk about. And I probably missed out on like 110 things. I probably have. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter. You can join the Ravelry group. Instagram and Twitter, I am Sadie Ruin. And the Ravelry group is Yarnivorous. You can find it at the blog, sadieruin.wordpress.com. Nothing really special there currently. I am taking a break from reading the Robert Jordan series. We picked this one up. Apparently it's written by a Seattle guy. In the Garden of Beasts, Love, Terror, and An American Family in Hitler's Berlin. I picked it up because it's the same guy who wrote The Devil in White City, which was about H.H. Holmes, the first American serial killer. He does a lot of, like, this is all notes and research and stuff. So I know it's going to be good. But he's from Seattle. It's based on actual correspondence and such of a real American family, which I'm going to find interesting. There's just no way around it. I like reading that stuff. If you like reading that stuff, then I recommend you check it out. I'm only like 20 pages in, and it gripped me, which is something I need to happen for a book for me to like. I will not go past 50 pages if it sucks. I just won't. I will not. However, if I make it past 100, I have to finish it even if it sucks. But a lot of people have been saying what they're reading, and so I decided I would too. That's what I'm reading. On the Kindle, I have How to Build a Girl by Caitlin Moran, which was really good to start with, and now is kind of annoying me. So I have to finish it, but I'm not sure it's worth recommending to anyone, unless you're a teenager. If you're a teenager who likes The Bell Jar and Go Ask Alice, and um, if you're an emo teenager, read How to Build a Girl. It's very entertaining. Otherwise, it's just kind of like, wow, if I read this when I was 15, it would have been the best book ever, but now it's kind of overdone. Does that make sense? So those are the two books I'm reading. Like I said, I finished a Robert Jordan, and before I continue onward, I'm going to take a break and read a couple non-Robert Jordan books. I love the Robert Jordan books, but they're really big and they take a long time. And that bugs me. I'm listening to the Dresden Files. My husband has the whole series, so I'm listening to them. When we were traveling, we listened to book 1 and 2 on the road. So I'm starting on he's finished them all, I think. I'm starting on book 3. I'm just listening to them while I'm doing stuff around the house. In between episodes of Serial and Undisclosed. And I'm enjoying them. They're read by James Marsters, who played Spike on Buffy, except he doesn't have his British accent. He's still really good at reading, but now I imagine that Harry Dresden is James Marsters. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Either way, it's probably a selling point. I am rather enjoying those. So I'm on book 3. But again, I listen to them relatively infrequently, but I do like having them to listen to. So those are the 3 books I'm currently working with. I've got a Kindle, an audio, and a hard book. And I always prefer, it's been said before, and it's been discussed on other podcasts, I prefer an in-hand copy, but for things like How to Build a Girl, it came out in hardcover and I wasn't paying $30 because I was like, I don't know if I'll like this. But it was $2.99 on special on the Kindle, so the $2.99 made complete sense. I wouldn't pick up Kindle Unlimited because I don't read a lot of Kindle books. In general, as a rule, I don't. It bugs me unless they're cheaper that way. Or I can't find them in, like, there's a series by Holly Black I want to read, and they don't have them at the bookstore here, so I don't know if I'll order them or not, because I don't know how I feel about them. But hubby probably could benefit from it, because everything he reads is on the Kindle, so he can take it on the ship. That has been way too much talking, and yeah, now you know everything about my week, basically. I hope you had a good week. I hope you have a great week next week. I hope it is a great weekend. And I hope that if you are like me and you're feeling a little maudlin over the news of all of our magical people passing, that you can take some solace in the weekend and, you know, we'll get through it. It's not a big deal, right? People die. But yeah. Getting maudlin again. Getting maudlin. I have my moments where I'm not maudlin, and then it gets like really maudlin. So I will leave you on that note. I hope you have a great week. May your knitting be good. May your cross stitches be stitchy. I put a post in the Ravelry group if you want to talk about cross stitching, or if you have any questions you would like me to answer, etc., etc. There's a thread now. And I will see you next week. Bye.